Hello and welcome back to the channel. I'm Chris. This is my channel Shihan Zen, and we're doing another tier list for Zoroark. Well, we're a little late for doing the tier list for Zoroark, but we're doing it anyway. And with me we have a very special guest, Supreme Latios.
Hey, what is good, YouTube? It's your boy Supreme Latios 14, and I am here with Shihan, and we're going into this tier list for Zoroark. And honestly, I don't think it's ever late to really do one. True?
True. I mean, honestly, people love tier lists. They love to see the tier list. They love to tell me I'm wrong. You know, it's great. You know.
Oh yeah. It just gets the whole community talking.
Absolutely. And the usual disclaimer: this is just our opinions. Don't come at us. You know, it's just, if you have a different opinion, talk about it in the comments. I would love to hear it. I'd love to hear your reasoning. You can tell me I'm wrong and you know, all that, but give me a reason. Give me a reason why I'm wrong, right? And maybe I'll agree with you. Anyway.
True. Always true to be constructive, of course, with it. True.
Absolutely. And let's dive in, right? Why not?
Let's get into it.
So, first up, we have Cinderace. Now, Cinderace used to be like the best of the best, one of the best of the best anyway. I have my thoughts on it. What are your thoughts, Latios?
Honestly, I feel like Cinderace definitely has it definitely has a lot of damage, honestly, like especially if you go with like a Blaze Cake build. I actually played it with Blaze Cake, honestly. Like Blaze Cake gets his basic attacks. You do a lot of damage with the basic attacks. Like, I don't really see a lot of Cinderaces myself, personally, per se, but I know there are still people who do use Cinderace, and they do really well with it, honestly. I feel like with Cinderace, it's kind of like a in between, like, you know, like it's still strong, or maybe it's not as great, you know. I feel like it depends on the team, you know.
Definitely depends on the team. Laning Cinderaces, in my experience, aren't so great, but a jungle Cinderace is pretty good still, in my opinion.
Oh yeah, I actually do play Cinderace here and there in jungle, and I could probably do a pretty good Cinderace, honestly. And I actually do know someone that actually plays Cinderace, and they do a lot of damage with Cinderace. Like, it's Blaze Kick that really gets it going. Blaze Kick, basically, I believe it increases your basic attack speed damage, so you're getting off a lot more basic attacks so fast. It's really crazy.
Oh yeah.
But it's just a matter of if you've seen it. I'm sorry.
My thinking, sorry, I'm just bringing it back to the tier list itself.
You're fine.
So my thoughts are A or B tier? Or do you think that's too high or too low?
I think I kind of agree with it. I kind of agree with either A or B.
Yeah, I think it's probably like in between A and B. I'm gonna put it in B just for that, but you know, it could be A.
Yeah.
All
yeah.
Right.
Like, again, it comes down to the team.
True. So next up, Garchomp. It did get
I
buffed.
think Garchomp, I think, definitely has been picking up a lot of usage, honestly. Like, it got a lot of love with this latest patch. I think Garchomp is definitely a pretty strong Pokemon right now.
I thought you were gonna say A tier for a second there.
I mean, I didn't mention the tier list. I didn't mention which tier, but I'm saying it definitely got some buffs for sure.
Yes, I'm thinking maybe a B again.
Okay, I'd say I don't see why not. Like, I feel like it still needs a few more things to make it more devastating, but
so C.
Probably a B. I'd say B. I'd say B. Yeah, because I honestly, like, there are people that do use Garchomp, and they put in a lot of work, honestly. Like, the Dragon combo, I feel like it's just so good. And the Dragon Claw, I know it got some buffs on its Dragon Claw and some of his other stuff as well. So I think it's still pretty good. I think it's definitely still good. Not definitely S tier material, but like
No, definitely
I still
not.
think, yeah, it still needs quite a bit for it to really shine. But I still think B is it's not bad for it.
So Gengar, I'm thinking A or S. I'm trying to decide. Probably.
I'm thinking A because Gengar did get quite a bit of nerfs. It did get a special attack nerf. It got range nerfs on its. Believe it was Hex, Dream Meter, and Shadow Ball. I think it was. I don't remember the moves, but I know there were some moves that did get a range decrease as well as special attack getting a nerf. But I still think Gengar is still an A tier. Like,
Yeah.
I don't think it's really S tier anymore, but I still think it's still really strong.
I don't think I ever rated it S tier, but yeah, I agree. It's still A tier. Cramorant. Cramorant's still in the game.
Yeah.
I don't see a lot of crams. That's.
Yeah. I actually do have a one of my friends named Matt. He actually plays a really good cram, honestly.
Oh yeah.
I don't have any experience with cram, so I can't really. I'm not really sure where this Pokemon places, so I'm unfortunately clueless on this one.
The fact that it's not used super often makes me think it's C or below. Generally, I mean, anytime I say something is not a high rank doesn't mean there aren't really skilled players with it. Just FYI, I'm gonna rank it C.
Yeah, like there are people that do play cram and they make it work so well. So we could be wrong about this. So just a little heads up, of course.
I could be wrong about everything. Gengar might be F tier. Who knows?
Yeah, true.
Alolan Ninetales.
Ooh, now this one I could kind of talk about a little bit. I think Alolan Ninetales is definitely underrated. I feel like, it's kind of fallen off a little bit, but I still think it's a pretty solid Pokemon, especially with its Aurora build with the getting those effects off of it with the basic attack increase, healing when you hit a Pokemon. So I think Alolan Ninetales is, in my opinion, still pretty solid.
Yeah, so I think so too. I'm leaning towards B tier, but what do you think?
I agree because it does. I feel like it definitely needs a few more things to make it really work, but I feel like Ninetales, especially with Mamoswine forming the freeze lane, is just kind of nutty, especially with the whole CC combo. It has a lot of CC to offer. Honestly, it's really dumb.
Oh yeah. Wiggly.
Yes.
Omar's sad about Wiggly.
I can vouch that I can definitely vouch that Wigglytuff still needs quite a bit, honestly. Like it did get a couple buffs before, but I still think it definitely needs more. Especially its Unite move. Like it gives your team shields, inverse immunes, but I still feel like it needs more.
I put Wiggly in D tier.
Unfortunately, as sad as it is, I mean, I do play Wigglytuff. I have to agree with this. I'm sorry, Omar, if you're watching, but I mean, there's not gonna front. There are still people that do play Wiggly really well. I mean, I play Wiggly. I haven't played it in a while. I think Wigglytuff is fun to play. It just needs a lot for it to really shine again.
Well, even if we put something in F tier, there are still people that play it really well, whatever it may be.
Facts.
Just keep that in mind for anyone watching who thinks that we're, bashing a particular Pokemon.
Yeah, I mean, we just tell it based on what it needs, what it's good at.
Yeah. Machamp.
Flex like Machamp.
I haven't seen a lot of Machamps lately.
Oh yeah, believe me, I definitely still see a few Machamps. Like Machamp, I feel like could still do. I still think Machamp's not bad, especially with its Unite. If you're able to get a whole team, you could probably get a whole wipeout with it if you time it correctly. Honestly, I think Machamp is still pretty decent. I wouldn't say like A tier or whatever. I could say it maybe C tier probably.
C tier, okay.
Question mark?
Maybe C plus tier. I put it B, but I'll move it down to C because if it's like, we'll call it C plus, but it's C tier.
Now don't get definitely. I agree. Like I honestly think Machamp is still good. I think there are still people who play Machamp that do really well with this. So I just think that.
Sorry, C in this case is average. So I mean, anyone can take a Pokemon that's average and play it well. It's just It's not super broken. It's not super not broken. Super
Right.
bad. I don't know. I don't know what the way to say it is, but it's not in desperate need of buffs. It's not in desperate need of nerfs. It's C tier.
Yeah. Flex like Machamp.
Absol.
Ooh, this is an interesting one because I know Absol did get a nerf to his attack recently. I still think Absol is not bad, but when I haven't seen Absol as much as it used to be. Remember once upon a time it used to be extremely broken where it's just able to KO anything is back then?
Oh yeah, when it was like above S tier and yeah. I think Absol might be currently B tier? Question mark?
I agree. Maybe I could say maybe B plus or maybe slightly A minus. I'm just saying slightly. I'm saying slightly because I still think there's still a lot of Absols out there that really put in work.
You know what? I'll slide it up to A tier because my community member Josh will murder me if I don't. So there we go. A tier.
Yeah,
there we go.
Yeah. Shout out to Josh, man. He really has a mean Absol. Like he really does.
Yes, he does. Slowbro.
Ooh, Slowbro. I think Slowbro definitely has a lot going for right now. I feel like, however, on this map, I feel like Slowbro kind of falls short, but Slowbro did get some love though. Mm-hmm.
I think maybe I would still put Slowbro C tier right now. I don't think it's particularly strong, but I also don't think it's particularly weak either.
Yeah, I feel like it's kind of in the same field as Machamp, where you can actually it's not really meta defying, but it's also not horrible at all.
Right. Yeah, so, it's kind of weird. We're like, oh, it's just not horrible, you know. Okay, so here's the big one, Mr. Mime.
Oh yeah, I think we all know where Mime is definitely gonna go. Still, honestly.
Oh yeah, F tier, right?
Yes, put in the F tier. We're tired of it. No, I'm kidding.
Mime is still S tier.
100%.
Maybe S minus. If that's a thing.
I mean, I definitely agree 100%. Mime is still really, really nuts. Even with the nerfs it did receive recently, I still think it's still insanely good.
Oh yeah. All right, Venusaur. Venusaur got a lot of buffs.
Now this is a Pokemon I could definitely tell you guys that it's doing so well right now. I main Venusaur myself. I think it's really, really good. I'd say maybe A plus. I definitely think it's an A. If it's not S, definitely an A.
Good thing I already put it in A.
There you go. It got a lot of buffs that it needed. Like it's just doing so much right now. I love it, honestly. It definitely got some love from that patch.
Oh yeah. So Lucario.
Ooh, now this one is a tricky one because I actually do have a friend named Chris. Shout out to my boy Chris. He is an insane Lucario. I'm telling you, he is an insane Lucario. He just got to the 2000s recently. Fun fact.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Impressive.
I don't know much about Lucario, but I can definitely tell you that he does. I think Lucario is still pretty decent, pretty solid all around. So its placement, I'm not sure. Maybe B tier, maybe C.
Yeah, my thought was B as well. So I don't
Fair
think
enough.
it's quite at C tier at the moment. I still think it's pretty good.
Yeah, I think it's really good, especially if you got someone like him actually putting in work with it.
All right, Talonflame.
This is an interesting one. The Talonflame is another interesting one. There's still people that do. I definitely still see Talonflame here and there that do well with it, of course.
Yeah, I have seen some good talents, but I've seen an awful lot of bad talents too.
Yeah, sadly.
I think maybe I put it in C initially, but maybe D.
I think C is fine because there's still people that like you still do. Talonflame does have a lot still going for it. It definitely still needs the buffs to make it shine once again, but I think
Yeah.
C is fine.
All right, next one is Eldegoss, which, by the way, be sure to check out Latios's breakdown of Eldegoss, of which I was a guest on, which should have gone live at the same time as this video, so check that out.
True. It should be live right now as you guys are watching this video, so be sure to check it out after you finish watching this one. True.
All right, I put Eldegoss in A. I think that's just a pretty straight up assessment of LD. I don't think it's quite S yet, but it's very good.
I definitely agree. Eldegoss has a lot going for it. Honestly, it's really good right now, especially with the buffs that it recently did get. I think it's really good. Excuse me.
Greninja.
Ooh. Okay, I can definitely talk a bit about Greninja. I think Greninja is still pretty good. I think Greninja is a great Pokemon. It did recently get a buff to its Water Shuriken. Me personally, as a Greninja player, I prefer Surf because Surf you can just, if you get a KO with it, you get an instant reset on Surf, so you can use it again. And its basic attacks actually reduce the cooldown of like Surf, Water Shuriken, or its starting move, which I believe is Bubble. So, and I have seen a lot of people that play Greninja really well. So I think Greninja I could see Greninja maybe being like either A- to B tier probably.
Okay, I can see.
I could be wrong. I could be wrong, but you know, I've seen people play Greninja. They do really well with it.
I'll put it in B tier. I had it in C. You said A. B seems a reasonable compromise there.
Yeah, I only say that because you know there are people that still make Greninja work really well, and I've seen people do really insane damage with Greninja, especially with the Water Stricken build. But that's just my opinion.
All right, next is Crustle.
Oh man, I have someone who absolutely loves Crustle, and I feel like Crustle could definitely use some stuff. Could be wrong. I haven't played the Pokemon enough to really, you know, give my 2 cents on it. It did get a buff to its I believe it's Rock Tomb recently, but I don't know. I don't really see a lot of Crustles, honestly, not gonna lie.
I think I'm putting Crustle in either D or E, because like you said, I think Crustle needs some love.
It definitely does. I say maybe I could say maybe. I feel like maybe it might be D because I feel like I could see it maybe in D because it does have that Self Smash X's ability, which could still put in work, but that's pretty much the only thing that it has going for it, in my opinion. I mean, there are people that still make Rock Tomb work, but then again, I don't know Crustle too well, so
yeah, I dropped it to E, just because I think it needs some love. You know, sort of like Eldegoss. Eldegoss was D tier prior to this update, so
oh yeah,
you know.
Oh yeah, Eldegoss got moved up really quick on that one
for sure. Snorlax. Now, Snorlax got a bit of a benefit from past couple updates, I feel like.
Now, Snorlax is actually another Pokemon I main. Actually, it's actually one of my top defenders I main.
Oh yeah.
I think Snorlax is pretty solid. It's early game. It puts out a lot of damage. You could do a lot of things with it. You could put a support. You can even go with that facade build. It does great. I think Snorlax it's great. I think it's great. It takes hits. It just doesn't go down so easily. And its Unite got a buff, so it's getting a lot more HP with its Unite now. I think Snorlax got some. Definitely is pretty good.
So what letter grade would you give it?
Considering what's going on, I could see it maybe being a B tier possible. I think.
Okay.
I want to say A, but I feel like their Snorlax could still use a bit more for it to be even more effective. But I still think it's still really good, in my opinion.
Yeah, I put it in B initially, so we're on the same page there, it seems, for the most part.
Fair enough.
Charizard.
Yes. Charizard that everyone loves and hates. The most iconic Pokemon in Pokemon franchise. I think this Pokemon is pretty really cool. I definitely like it. Its Unite move is kind of crazy. I can tell you that right now. Do I think it's good? I feel like right now Charizard definitely has been seen a bit of use in jungle. I think I could be wrong.
It's true, it has.
Yeah, so Charizard, I think it's definitely. I could see it. I think it's either A or B.
Okay. I
That's what I think. That's
I-
my personal opinion.
Yeah, I ended up putting it in B.
Mm-hmm.
I did have it in C just because I didn't think of the jungle usage, and typically Charizards aren't that great. But jungle Charizard is decent, so B
Yeah.
for me. It's B for me.
Yeah, like it definitely has a lot going for it. Honestly, it did get a buff. It did get a cooldown reduction on its fire punch, so there's something. So I still think Charizard definitely is good.
Next is the one Pokemon in the entire game of Unite that has an evolution but doesn't evolve. Pikachu.
Pika, my boy, young Pika swag. Oh man, I'm actually pretty sad. I'm pretty sad about this one. You know why? Because I absolutely love Pikachu. I mean, Pikachu. There are people that still use Pikachu that really work, that make it work so well. I feel like it's falling on by the wayside. I could be wrong about that because I do see people still play Pikachu and have some good success with it, but I don't know. Like Pikachu is an interesting one because I don't know. It's kind of tough.
I'm inclined to agree. Pikachu has been falling by the wayside. I'm thinking C or D, personally.
I'd say D because while Pikachu still has a lot going for it, it just needs quite a bit more for it to really shine, honestly. And I feel like it definitely lost its touch.
Agreed.
It lost its place.
Yeah, Pikachu used to be really good, really, really decent choice, and now it just doesn't feel that way.
Yeah, I mean, I could be wrong. There are people that do play Pikachu that do make it work, honestly.
Oh, that's true of everybody or every Pokemon.
Yeah.
So
I might actually play Pikachu in the near future soon again to see where I could do with it.
makes sense.
Yep.
All right, Zerora, Zapcat.
Oh, Zoroark? Okay. I think Zoroark did get that buff where its Unite move comes at level 9 instead of level 10, and then it did get the buff on the Discharge, but I feel like it still needs a bit more. But then again, there are people who play it and they do so well with it. Like it just has a lot of damage going for it.
This is true. It does have a lot of damage, but I have seen it be not super effective. I didn't mean to do that, but not super effective in fights the way it should, in my opinion. So I'm kind of leaning towards C or even D plus ish, which would put it in D, but
I'd say maybe it's like I feel like it's definitely low tier C. Like
okay.
I mean, I think it's still good. I think it definitely has its shine for sure, especially in the right situations. I think it's still pretty solid. Though I could definitely agree that it definitely needs more for it to really do more.
Oh yeah, I think there are better choices than Zerora right now, even though Zerora itself is fine.
Yeah, true.
Gardevoir.
Ooh, this is definitely a Pokemon I feel like needs more love. Like,
Yeah.
there are people that play Gardevoir that really make it work. I feel like especially on really good team comp, or rather on teams that are well coordinated, they can really make Gardevoir work really well. I feel like Gardevoir still needs a bit of love right now because I feel like Gardevoir, I don't really see it too much, but
No, you don't.
yeah, especially if you chase it down. If you chase it down, then it's pretty much a sitting duck.
Right. It has no escape to speak of.
Mm-hmm.
And that's one of its greatest weaknesses. So I put it in D.
I agree.
You agree? Okay. Cool.
I agree because it's strong. It has a lot of things going for it. It has some decent damage, but again, it really will only do good on a good team comp, or rather on a coordinated team. I'd say.
Right. Blissey.
Ooh, okay. So Blissey is an interesting Pokemon. Now, Blissey did get nerfed quite hard on its heals and its egg bomb. Honestly, I still think Blissey's still not bad because You do have Safeguard, which the effects are still kind of hindered a little bit, but I still think it has its use. And you do have Helping Hand, which I feel like not many people really explore Helping Hand Blissey. I've actually been testing it recently with my team, and teaming it with Pokemon that really do well with basic attacks, and it puts out a lot of damage. Honestly, it really makes it work. So I'd say Blissey is a bit of a C, possibly. I could be wrong.
Oh, okay.
But what do you think?
I had it in A still, but maybe I'm just not in the know with Blissey lately.
Now you know what? I think you're right. I think it does deserve an A because you know why? I just remember there are people that do stack with Blissey, which do increase its healing a bit. So I think A is fine.
Okay.
Or if not A, I'd say B. B. Maybe B is more consistent.
Split the difference and go with a B.
Yeah, exactly. Like it still has things going for it, of course.
All right, Blastoise.
Ah, yes, arm cannons. Now, this is another Pokemon I do play actually, Blastoise. I love Blastoise. It got some love before with buffs to its Surf and Hydro Pump. I don't think the buffs really did it much, but I think Blastoise personally is still pretty good. I mean, I've recently noticed that Blastoise has been doing a lot more damage than what I'm expecting. Maybe it's just the build I'm noticing with it, but I think Blastoise is not bad, and definitely not bad. I think if anything, it's definitely solid. I'd say.
I put it C tier because I don't think it really needs a huge amount of debuffs or buffs. It could maybe use a little bit of a buff because the debuff that really hurt it was changing its rapid spin from being unstoppable.
Yeah, to making a hindrance immunity.
Right.
I mean, I feel like the rapid spin, even with that change, I still think rapid spin is still good because it does protect Blastoise from hindrances. So I still think it's good. I still think it definitely has its usage, of course. So
you think higher than C?
I could see Blastoise maybe like a B, possibly, but I could be wrong.
Okay,
that's just what I think.
I'll accept that argument and put it in B.
Yeah, the only reason why I say that is because, like I said, like you mentioned, they did change rapid spin for being unstoppable, which is just immune to hindrances. But I still think that's still pretty solid. That's still not bad, honestly. True. Plus, you could still maybe like stack with it. You could still do some pretty solid damage, I'd say. And Blastoise, I feel like just has its stuff going for it. Now, like you mentioned, I don't think it definitely needs any buffs right now. I think it's great right now, and I don't think it really needs any nerfs. So,
yeah, well, that would be why I would say C.
Okay, fair enough.
I feel like if we feel like a Pokemon is pretty solid, that it's a C tier at that point. We think it could use a little bit of debuffs. It's B. That's my thinking. I don't know. That's my way of looking at it.
Like it's definitely between B and C. I can tell you that.
It's probably like a C plus or something like that.
Okay, I'd say I don't see why not.
Mamoswine.
Ooh, now this is a Pokemon that I know for sure that definitely has been doing really good as of late. Yeah. It has a lot of CC. It has a lot of things going for it. I feel like Mamoswine is definitely a really good Pokemon right now. I think it has a lot of things going for it. You can do so much with it. It's really good. It's really crazy.
Yeah, Mamoswine's pretty strong right now, I feel like.
I could see it maybe being like a B plus, maybe A.
Yeah. That was my reasoning as well. Or my thinking as well is what I mean to say. All right, well, I guess I put it in A.
Thinking A? Okay. Yeah, I agree. I definitely agree.
I forget you can't actually see my screen, so.
Yeah.
Sylveon.
Ooh. This is a Pokemon I played a bit, but what do you think?
All right. I want to put it in E. I think it needs some love.
I agree. I agree. Though I feel like there are people that do make it work at times.
Yeah,
So
there always are though.
maybe a D minus. I could see it maybe a D minus possibly, but I think the E maybe fits because I feel like it definitely needs a bit of love, or rather needs quite a bit of love.
Right. Yes. Exactly.
Yep.
Greedent.
Yes, the trolley Greedent. I'm a Greedent. I'm just gonna go into your jungle and steal all your stuff. I'm a Greedent.
I see all your jungles and it's all mine now.
Come to think of it, I haven't really seen that many Greedents as of late. Maybe it's just me, but
It's not just you. I think I currently, and you might think I'm wrong, and that's fine. I put Greedent as a C tier. I don't think it's particularly strong, but I don't think it's particularly weak either.
yeah, I think I could agree with that. Maybe slightly more in the D tier, possibly. I could be wrong though.
Yeah, it might need a little bit of a buff. So yeah, let's put it D.
Yeah,
I can
yeah.
see it using a little bit of a buff. That way we can have Greedents invading us constantly every time. Again.
Yeah. it's still the same. It's still the same Gradient that just loves to steal your stuff.
Right. All right, Decidueye. I haven't actually paid much attention to Decidueye lately. I used to play it pretty often, but I don't know.
I can talk about Dusty a little bit. So, Decidueye, aka Dusty. I think I like it because you can snipe from afar. Like most people would definitely play Spirit Shackle with the Shadow Sneak because you can literally snipe. You can snipe things from far away. Honestly, I think the Decidueye definitely has the sniping part going for it right now.
Definitely.
The only thing is that it is definitely pretty squishy. Like it definitely it dies. It could go down like in 2 hits, I'd say. But I feel like Desi could be maybe a bit of a C tier, maybe a D tier. The reason why I say that is because, while it's able to snipe things from so far, it's just pretty squishy that if the enemy gets to you, you're pretty much a sitting duck, kind of like Gardevoir to an extent.
Right. Yeah, I ended up putting Decidueye in D. I initially did C, but you make good points. Decidueye is great for sniping, but not so great for getting for escaping being murdered.
Yeah, like it does have Shadow Sneak, which does give it a little bit of movement, but it's not really enough, and it is pretty squishy. So like if they catch you, you're pretty much a goner.
Oh yeah, for sure. It could use some love. Someone, I don't know who it was, someone in one of my streams was talking about running tank Decidueye, and I haven't found anything on that, but that sounds like a fascinating concept.
Yeah, not for nothing, I don't think that's gonna work, unfortunately.
Yeah,
it's just way too squishy.
It could work maybe eventually in the future, but not now. Tsareena.
Now, this Pokemon has definitely gotten a lot of nerfs, and yet I still do see people play it quite a bit.
Yeah, Tsareena combos well with certain other Pokemon. So even though Tsarena's not herself super powerful, I kind of want to put her A, just because she combos well.
I agree, because there are still people that do run that I have seen running triple Axel and such with it, and even with the nerfs, I still think it's putting quite a bit of work.
Right. All right. Next up, Dragonite.
This is a Pokemon I know how to play.
Mm-hmm.
I think Dragonite definitely has fallen by the wayside, honestly. They did nerf it quite a bit, I believe, to its Hyper Beam range, I think. I don't remember what the nerfs were exactly. But I think Dragonite still is good, just not as dominating as it was before, being able to hard secure with its Hyper Beam. And that's one thing that I felt like that was really strong when it came down to Dragonite. But ever since they did nerf the damage dealt to the Hyper Beam and then the cooldown to its Dragon Dance, which I just remember those on the point.
Right.
I feel like Dragonite's kind of fallen down. Yep.
Um,
I just honestly feel like Dragonite has fallen a bit by the wayside.
I put Dragonite C tier. What do you think?
I agree.
You agree?
Like, yeah, there's definitely people that could still make it work. Maybe you can actually maybe still run X attack, have that movement with the Dragonets, and still be able to secure regardless.
Right.
But that's just what I think.
Yeah, I'm kind of there. I don't think it's particularly strong, but I don't think it's particularly weak either. It definitely has its uses.
Yeah, it was way too strong before. I think the nerf just made it more fair. I'd say.
All right, next up, Tree.
Good old Tree. Another Pokemon. Another defender I hard made. I think it's definitely really good. Especially since it did recently get a buff to its Wood Hammer. I feel like people are kind of downing it quite a bit. That I think that's still bad. I think it's still not. It's pretty dang decent, honestly. Obviously, I'll probably would maybe prefer Curse and Hornleech.
Right.
But I feel like Woodhammer is still not bad. But all around, I still think Trevenant is a great Pokemon. And I could see it likely being like in possibly A tier because I think it definitely has a lot of CC. It definitely has a lot of stuff going for it. Or if you don't think it's A, maybe it could be like a high B tier.
I could see it being A. I was thinking B, but you're right. It's actually a very, very good tank.
Oh yeah.
So I think A tier makes sense for it.
Yeah, like without Hornleech, it just does not go down. It just does not want to go down. If you try to 1v1 it, you're definitely losing that 1v1.
True. Next up is Sword.
Aegislash. Now, Aegislash did get a nerf to its. I believe it got nerfed to its Sacred Sword damage. I don't remember this one actually.
So I don't remember.
I still think Aegislash is still pretty good, honestly. It definitely still has. You could still use Shadow Claw to make it work with it, honestly. Ah, yes, it was a nerf to its Shadow Sneak, and then Sacred Sword got a reduced defense ignoring effects. Right. But I still think, despite that, I still think Aegislash is still pretty good.
I put it in C. Do you agree, or do you think it should be higher?
Maybe a B, because I could definitely still. I feel like it still has its uses, of course. Like the only thing they really did hinder on it is that the Shadow Sneak got nerfed, and I still think there's still people that really make Aegislash work really well. I feel like they could take it to lane, you can stack with it, and you can still do really good with it. Maybe with the Shadow Claw. So I could see it maybe like a B tier, but that's just my opinion.
Okay. All right, here's the next one, and hear me out. Hoopa. I want to put it in F tier.
Ale Hoopa?
Hoopa? F tier?
Okay. I'm okay. So here's my thing, right? I agree and disagree with this one. You know why? Because hear me out.
Listening.
The reason why I agree is because the healing at base definitely is nerfed quite a bit.
Mm-hmm.
Because it feels like, you know, Hyperspace Hole kind of definitely lost is big usage on the healing, honestly. But I also disagree because, you know, you still have it being able to maneuver your team around the field, whether if you need to go bottom or top lane to go for objectives fast. I feel like, you know, Hyperspace Hole is still useful for that particular purpose. So, and then Trick did get some buffs as well. I think Trick definitely has its place as well too. But I mean, I don't think it's really an F. I could see it maybe like an E. Okay. But the only reason why I say this is because, like I said, it does have its usages, and you know, a good Hoopa can still make it work. But I do agree, it definitely needs a lot more love.
Yeah. Okay. You talked me down from putting it in F. E. It is.
I mean, I'm just throwing out my 2 cents. This is what I think, honestly.
Wow, it's just what we think in general.
Yeah.
Duraludon.
Now, this Pokemon, I feel like definitely is in a good place right now. Like, it has a lot going for it, and its basic attack damage, it's kind of crazy. Dragon Pulse, in my opinion, is really crazy because you basically use your basic attacks to put those little blue markers onto an enemy, and then the more of those they have, the more damage you're getting off a Dragon Pulse. So you're literally can get a lot of crazy stuff, honestly. So I'd say Duraludon is probably, I'd say A tier. If not A tier, I could see it maybe like a high B tier on this one.
I was gonna lean high B tiers on this, so I guess we'll go with that.
Fair enough.
All right, Azumarill.
Azu. Now, Azu got a lot of love from the patch. It evolves now at level 4. It gets its first move, I believe, at 4. Then it gets its second move at 6. And then it's Unite at 8. I think Azumarill is definitely in a good place right now.
Yeah, I agree. I have a rocky relationship with Azumarill, mostly because of a troll who used to come to my streams. And I used to also Azumarill used to just be bad. But I feel like Azumarill may even be an A now.
I think it's definitely an A because, you know, the fact that it evolves at 4 and you could do so much with it early game. I think it's really good in my opinion.
Yep. Agreed. All right, next up is Espeon.
Ooh, this one, Espeon got some buffs. It definitely could do a lot of damage, but I don't know. Like, I could see it in the position where it doesn't really need any nerfs, but I feel like it kind of does need a little bit slight buffs, but I could be wrong.
Yeah, I feel like I was debating D or E for Espeon, just because, like you said, it does need some buffs. The question is how many.
Yeah.
Why don't we call it D for now?
I could say it. Yeah, I agree. I was gonna say I agree with D. Definitely D.
All right. Next up is Delphox.
Oh yeah, this Pokemon is definitely hard dominating right now. I feel like this Pokemon definitely is S because now the reason why I say it's S because Flame Charge, you could just you do a lot of crazy stuff with it, honestly.
True.
I think it's really good. It's that good right now.
I think it's either A plus or S. So I'll put it in S. I agree. We'll go with it.
Yeah,
Delphox
because
is one of the best Pokemon in the game right now.
Yeah, it's just really good right now. Its Unite is also really good because if you place it on the enemy team, base, you can, or rather their goal, you can literally hinder them quite a bit while that's on their. Oh, it's really nutty. And plus, with the Flame Charge, being able to combo that into Mystical Fire as you're dashing as well, it's so dumb. And you get the cooldown. If you run like a full cooldown build with it, it's ridiculous.
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah, Delphox is just so good. I don't play it much, and maybe I should play it more. But yeah, it's so powerful.
It's insane, especially with the right support. It's so dumb.
All right, next up is Glaceon.
Now, this is another Pokemon that I think is definitely really good. I don't think it's definitely S tier though, because I feel like it has fallen slightly.
Yeah.
But I still think it's really good. So maybe low A tier, I'd say, or maybe A tier straight out because.
Yep. I put it.
That's
A.
what I think.
I had also put it A. So.
Yeah, Glaceon definitely is a good one for sure. Probably the best evolution currently.
Yes, I think it is the best of the evolutions right now, until Umbreon shows up.
True.
All right, Buzzwole.
Big buff Buzzwole with the muscles. I think Buzzwole is definitely is looking much better now. Like it got quite a bit of buffs as of late. And I've actually been testing out the Leech Life build actually, and I think Buzzwole is definitely a lot better now. Especially with all the buffs that it got recently. I think it's definitely in a somewhat better position now. So definitely not. I could definitely say it's definitely not an E anymore. That's for sure. I could see
Yeah,
it maybe like in the. I could see it maybe like in the C tier, maybe B tier. I could be wrong.
I put it in the C tier initially. I don't know. I didn't really explain what I was doing, but generally I'm picking up the Pokemon, putting them where I think initially, and then I listen to what you say and make a decision that way. But I dropped it in C tier initially, so.
Yeah, I just go about what I've seen and what the Pokemon does. It has a lot of stuff that it definitely can just slam you around with its other set, Smackdown and the superpower.
Yep.
Definitely could be quite annoying, especially if you get slammed everywhere.
This is true. Yeah, I've been smacked around by a Buzzwole on more than one occasion, so yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't feel good to get body slammed by all around the stage.
This is true. T-Tar.
Ah, yes. This is definitely one of my favorite Pokemon. I have always loved T-Tar. Ever since it was introduced into not just into Unite, but I mean in general. I love Tyranitar.
Mm-hmm.
I think it definitely is still pretty good. Its early game is definitely not great, honestly.
Right.
I feel like you want to make sure you evolve as quickly as possible to get to your T-Tar.
Oh,
but once you do get it, it becomes a monster.
Yes. I'm on the fence, either A tier or B tier. I also like T-Tar. I think it's great if you know how to play it, which means early game you need to farm, and get to T-Tar. That's pretty much how you have to play it.
You really want to get to your T-Tar as quickly as possible with it. So I'm inclined to maybe add the reason why I think it's A, because if you do get T-Tar and you're able to make it work, like it's just really crazy. It just puts out so much, honestly.
Mm-hmm.
Versus if you agree that it's B tier, it's because if you're able to stop it from the enemy from getting their T-Tar right away. If you're able to slow them down, it's like it's going to be a bit of a struggle with them unless they get T-Tar.
Yes, I put it in A ultimately. So there we go.
Okay, understandable.
Mew.
Ooh, this one. Okay, now Mew definitely got some nerves quite a bit. I still think it's good. I still think it's pretty nutty. I'd say, and actually, I just started recently playtesting Mew a little bit. I still think Mew is really good. I think if it's not S still, I'd say maybe A.
I put it in A, but the argument could be made for S for sure.
Yeah, because I feel like people still do play Mew and make it work so effectively. It's insane.
Yeah, I'll put it in S. Why not?
yeah. That's just why I think. Maybe people will probably sit there and say maybe Mew is just probably better in A tier anyway. But I still think Mew definitely is it's still good. It's still quite good in my opinion.
Indeed. All right. Next up is Dodrio.
Now this Pokemon is really dumb, and when I say really dumb, I mean it just does a lot. It's ridiculous how strong this Pokemon is. I believe it recently got a buff to its Drill Peck and Jump Kick combo, and I don't even think people even use that. I feel like they go with the Tri-Attack build more.
Right.
Dodrio is still pretty nuts. In the right hands, Dodrio is ridiculous.
I think the key word there is in the right hands.
Yeah.
Dodrio is insane in with someone who's really good with Dodrio, but generally when I encounter Dodrios, they're not good. It's so I kind of am thinking I initially and it sounds like you might disagree. I put it in C initially.
I feel like personally Dodrio is a bit more higher because
I think so.
The reason why I think is because there are people that play it that do really well with it, honestly.
Mm-hmm.
So I could argue. I mean, I can see why you put it in C because like you mentioned, you see people that play Dodrio, they don't know what they're doing with it. But I've seen people they play Dodrio and they know exactly what they're doing with it.
Oh, I've seen it too,
and it's really nuts.
I moved it up to B. I'll accept that argument. Dodrio itself can be very, very powerful. It's just it requires a skill. It requires skill, clearly.
Yeah, it really does.
So next up is Scizor.
Now, Scizor definitely got a lot of love on it. I think Scizor is definitely really good right now.
I think Scizor is good. I don't think it's A or S good. I think it's B good.
I think it might be worthy of A actually, because it definitely, with that bullet punch giving you all that heal and you just doing additional damage, I could definitely think it might be A, but I can also agree that it could be a B, because it's definitely a lot better than what it was,
Right.
and that it could still use slightly more, but
Well, it's definitely not F anymore. That's for sure.
oh yeah. Oh yeah.
I think I'm gonna leave it in B, but with the caveat that it's a B plus.
Yeah, let's say we'll say it's B plus. So, or if anything, we could also say A minus, even though it's in the B tier. I'd say A minus.
That's fair. We disagree, and that's fine.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not saying I disagree with your placement. I think it definitely is great.
Right.
It could
No,
definitely
I
use
understand.
slightly more.
You're just saying you think it's more of an A minus, and that's fine. It's somewhere in between A and B is what it comes down to.
Yeah. Basically, it's around that field. It's good.
Right. Clefable.
Now, this is the Pokemon. This is a support that I've grown to love and play. I think its heals is really good. Gravity is really great. Being able to stop those dashes, being able to give Clefable those boosted basic attacks while you're in the gravity zone.
Oh yeah.
I think Clefable is really good right now.
Yep. I put Clefable in A tier. I think that's you're probably in agreement with that.
100%. I 100% agree, because, like I said, Clefable's heals is really good. I think it's even better than Bliss. I think the heals is definitely better than Blissey's, because it's more, honestly. And gravity, just gravity alone is what makes this Pokemon is really good. Being able to stop dashes in their tracks.
True. All right. Last one, Zoroark.
Ooh, all right. So here's what I know about Zoroark, right? So Zoroark has a lot of stuff going for it. It has a lot of dashes. It could definitely do quite a bit of damage. I think most people will say that if they play Zoroark, they will definitely go Night Slash majorly, because Night Slash Shadow Claw combo, it does really well. And honestly, Zoroark's damage, the way I've seen it, Zoroark can definitely put in a lot of damage, especially in the right hands. Zoroark is definitely one of those Pokemon that could really put the battle into your team's favor, honestly. And having access to Illusion, being able to change yourself into either an ally, an enemy, or even a wild Pokemon at that, being able to it gives you literally, mind games. Like, you could have your opponent think, oh, that's just a wild Pokemon, you can just farm it, only to find out, oh no, it wasn't, it was a Zoroark, and you just go and you can just take him out for that. So where I think Zoroark lands, I think Zoroark is definitely pretty solid, I'd say.
Okay. So I put it in C tier initially. Do you think it may be B tier, A tier?
I can see it in the B tier, because I do see Zoroark definitely being used quite a bit, and it's definitely a tricky Pokemon to catch, honestly, to play against, honestly. But it's also a Pokemon that I feel like definitely requires a lot of experience to play, because as I've seen before, Zoroark is definitely not an easy Pokemon to learn. But once you do learn it, it's actually pretty crazy, honestly.
It's another one of those Dodrios,
Yeah, exactly. It's one of those Pokemon where once you understand exactly how it works, it can definitely be absolutely deadly, honestly.
True. So we've recorded for almost an hour at this point. So did we really? Do we do the Spraggles thing and mix it all up and talk about why Crustle's the best or something?
I mean, sure. I don't see why not.
Let's do it. Let's do the Spraggles thing. just mix things up and perfect.
Were we really recording for an hour?
Oh yeah, it's been 54 minutes.
Dang.
So that's why Crustle is S tier, and as usual, Azumaro's at D tier because of that troll who keeps coming to my stream and trashing everything. So yeah, that's the tier list. Thank you so much for watching. Latios, thank you for being here. It was great recording this with you, and maybe we can do another at some point.
For sure. Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.